Losing a life partner isn't just a deep, heart-wrenching pain. It brings a wave of difficult decisions at a time when you haven't even had the chance to heal. Waking up to an empty space beside you, sitting through lonely meals, and facing the heavy silence of each evening can be overwhelming. But the pain isn't just about loneliness. It also comes from rushed decisions that can have lasting consequences. Should you sell the house or keep it? How should assets be divided? Is it time to seek companionship again? In moments of grief, many have made choices they later regretted for the rest of their lives. Today, I'm going to share 5 critical mistakes that many people make after losing a spouse, and more importantly, how to avoid these traps. Stay with me until the end of this video so you can protect yourself from making decisions you might regret. If you find this content helpful, please hit like, subscribe, and share it so more people can avoid these mistakes. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. Comment 1 if you agree, or 0 if you have a different perspective. I'm always here to listen. Now, let's get started. 1. Making major financial decisions too soon. Losing a life partner is one of the greatest shocks in life. It's not just about the overwhelming sense of emptiness and loneliness, it's also the burden of sudden financial decisions that come rushing in before the mind has even had a chance to process the loss. Legal paperwork, bank accounts, insurance policies, even the home you once shared. Suddenly, they all become pressing issues that demand resolution. In the depths of grief, many believe that making immediate changes will help them feel better. But in reality, these rushed decisions often lead to regrets that last a lifetime. The natural instinct of those who have just lost a spouse is to do something, anything, to ease the pain. Some immediately decide to sell the home they once shared, believing that a fresh start in a new place will help them move on. Others hastily distribute assets to their children, worried that they may not have much time left. Some get drawn into investment opportunities, hoping to create financial security for the future. But the truth is, financial decisions made in the midst of grief are rarely rational. They are driven by emotion, and that can lead to irreversible consequences. Take Emma, for example. At 74, just 3 months after her husband's passing, she decided to sell the house they had lived in for 40 years. Her friends urged her to wait, but she believed that starting over somewhere new would help her escape the pain. So she sold the house and moved to a smaller apartment in a different city. But once the initial shock subsided, she realized that her old home was more than just a place to live. It was a part of her life, a space filled with memories, and a place where she felt safe. In the new city, without familiar neighbors or friends, her loneliness became even more unbearable. By the time she wanted to return, it was too late. The house was gone. This mistake is more common than you might think. Many believe that they need to act quickly to regain control, but what they actually need is time to process, to adjust, and to make decisions with a clear mind. That's why financial experts strongly advise against making any major financial moves within the first year after losing a spouse. They call it the 1-year rule, a necessary period to allow emotions to settle and to regain the clarity needed for sound decision-making. And it's not just about selling a home. Other financial choices, investments, large expenses, or gifting money should also be carefully considered. Newly widowed individuals are often targeted by opportunists. Unethical financial advisors may push them into unclear investment schemes, or friends and relatives may pressure them into financial commitments. When they finally realize they've been taken advantage of, they don't just lose money, they lose trust. So what's the lesson here? There's no rush. No matter how strong the urge to make changes, give yourself time to think. Seek advice from independent financial professionals who truly have your best interests at heart. If someone pressures you to make an immediate decision, take a step back. The best decision is never the fastest one. It's the one made when you are truly ready. Remember, money can be regained, but a single bad decision can have lifelong consequences. 2. Isolating yourself from friends and family. The familiar chair now seats only one. Meals are quieter without laughter, and the evenings stretch endlessly. In moments like these, the easiest thing to do is to shut yourself away, ignore phone calls, leave messages unanswered, and even avoid those who care about you. You might think, no one truly understands my pain, or I just need time alone to get through this. But the truth is, isolating yourself can turn grief into a deep, inescapable void. Walter, 78, experienced this firsthand. When his wife passed away after 52 years together, his world collapsed. He stopped visiting his favorite cafe, gave up his morning walks, and no longer visited his children and grandchildren. Each day, he stayed inside, sitting silently by the window. His friends worried, called, stopped by, but he always declined their invitations. He believed that no one could help him through his grief except himself. But over time, his home became a prison of loneliness. The days felt endless. His sleep was restless, and all he felt was emptiness. Everything changed with an unexpected visit. One afternoon, an old neighbor, a man who had also lost his wife years ago, dropped by with a cup of hot coffee. Instead of asking, "Are you okay?" a question Walter had grown tired of, his neighbor simply said, "I know this feeling. I was there too." Those simple words made Walter pause. For the first time in months, he felt understood. They sat and talked, at first about small neighborhood things. Then slowly, Walter began sharing memories of his wife, his longing, his loss. That single conversation opened a door. From that day on, he started stepping outside again, slowly but surely reconnecting with the world he had shut out. Studies show that prolonged isolation doesn't just impact mental well-being, it also affects physical health. Older adults who experience loneliness face a higher risk of depression, anxiety, and even a shortened lifespan. On the other hand, those who maintain social connections, whether through short conversations with neighbors or casual coffee meetups with friends, tend to be healthier, more optimistic, and recover from grief more effectively. The important thing to remember is that no one expects you to be strong overnight. You don't have to pretend to be happy, and you don't have to force yourself into large gatherings if you're not ready. But allow yourself small moments of connection, a brief conversation, a short walk with a friend, a phone call with family. You don't have to face grief alone. Walter took a long time to realize that isolation didn't ease his pain. It only deepened it. When he began to open up, even just a little, he saw that there were people willing to listen, willing to walk this journey with him, and slowly, step by step, he started to find himself again. If you're going through something similar, remember that while no one can replace the person you lost, there are still people who love you and want to help. Don't push them away. Connection, even in the smallest form, could be the first step toward stepping out of the shadow of grief. 3. Neglecting your health. When a life partner is no longer there, many people find themselves neglecting their own well-being. Meals lose their taste, sleep becomes restless, and activities that once brought joy suddenly feel meaningless. Some mornings, you wake up but don't feel the need to get out of bed. You tell yourself, eating doesn't matter anymore. Or, why should I exercise when there's no one to share it with? These thoughts are common, but they can lead to dangerous consequences. James, 81, was once a vibrant and healthy man. He and his wife Mary had a routine. They took morning walks together, prepared healthy dinners, and reminded each other about doctor's appointments. But after Mary passed away, everything changed. No one was there to wake him up early, no one to walk with him, no one to share meals. Slowly, he stopped moving, his eating habits became irregular, and doctor visits no longer seemed important. At first, James didn't notice the changes. He just felt more tired, had less energy, and became sick more often. He assumed it was part of grief, just something that naturally happened after losing someone you love. But one day, after walking only a few steps in his home, he found himself gasping for air. It shocked him. He remembered how he and Mary could walk for hours without feeling tired. Now, even stepping outside felt exhausting. James is not alone. Many widowed individuals experience the same decline. Studies show that losing a spouse increases the risk of heart disease, cognitive decline, and even shortens life expectancy. Some of this is due to emotional stress, but much of it comes from self-neglect, poor eating, lack of sleep, and inactivity. When the mind weakens, the body often follows. One common mistake is feeling guilty about taking care of oneself. Many believe that if they continue living well, it means they're forgetting their spouse, or worse, that they no longer love them. But in reality, the opposite is true. The person you lost would never want to see you suffer, to see you wasting away in grief. They would want you to keep living, not just for yourself, but for those who still love and need you. James came to this realization when his daughter Emily visited. She noticed how pale and frail he looked. Gently, she said, "Dad, do you think Mom would want to see you like this? You know she always wanted you to be healthy. You can't give up." Those words awakened something in him. He decided to make a change, not just for himself, but for Mary, for his children, and for the life he still had ahead. He started small, picking up old habits they once shared. He took short walks in the garden, nothing far, just enough to get his body moving. He focused on eating properly, instead of skipping meals, or grabbing whatever was easiest. Within weeks, he felt a difference. He no longer woke up feeling drained, his mood lifted, and while he still missed Mary deeply, he learned to turn that longing into a reason to take care of himself. So what's the lesson here? Taking care of yourself is not a betrayal of the person you lost. It's a way of honoring the life they would have wanted you to continue. If you're in this situation, remember that staying healthy isn't just about living longer. It's about making the time you have left meaningful. Eat well. Take those small daily walks, and prioritize your sleep. Because no one who truly loves you would ever want to see you suffer, and they certainly wouldn't want you to stop living. 4. Entering a new relationship too soon. After losing a spouse, the house suddenly feels overwhelmingly large and empty. The chair where your husband used to read the newspaper, the dining table where you once shared evening conversations, the bed that now holds only one person. Loneliness is not just an emotion, it is a physical presence, an undeniable void. You may endure it for a while, but eventually, the silence becomes too heavy to bear, and that is when many make a mistake, rushing into a new relationship too soon. Ava, 60, understands this feeling better than anyone. Her husband passed away suddenly from a stroke, leaving her with a vast emptiness she didn't know how to fill. In the early days, grief was all-consuming, but after just a few months, the loneliness became unbearable. She longed for someone to be there, a hand to hold, a familiar voice in the house. So when a man her age approached her with interest, she almost immediately agreed to start dating. At first, everything seemed fine. He listened to her, showed her kindness, took her to dinner, and walked with her in the park. But as time went on, Ava realized that this relationship was not built on love. It was merely an escape from loneliness. Their conversations lacked depth. Their connection felt forced. Worse, she began to feel guilty, as if she was betraying her late husband. Everything had moved too fast, too soon. And one day, she had to face the truth. This relationship wasn't helping her heal. It was just pushing the pain aside. Many, like Ava, believe that a new relationship can fill the void of loss. But the truth is, no one can replace the partner you lost. Real love is built on understanding and genuine readiness, not on fear of being alone. When a relationship begins for the wrong reasons, it rarely lasts. Loneliness is uncomfortable, but it is also a natural part of healing. Instead of rushing to find someone to fill the emptiness, give yourself time to adjust to your new reality. Rediscover yourself, find joy in the small things, and learn to embrace peace without needing someone else to complete it. The most important thing is this: when you're truly ready, you will know. A new relationship is not a bad thing, but it only holds true meaning when you enter it with the right mindset. Not to escape loneliness, but to share your life with someone in an honest, meaningful way. And if that moment hasn't arrived yet, that's okay too. Finding happiness within yourself is already a success worth celebrating. 5. Keep all the belongings but don't dare to let go. When you lose a spouse, the familiar home suddenly becomes a museum of memories. The coat still hanging behind the door, the neatly placed shoes by the bed, the old teacup on the kitchen shelf, everything seems to be waiting for its owner to return. Many people hesitate to touch anything, fearing that even tidying up a little would mean erasing a piece of the past. They leave everything untouched, as if holding on to material things could somehow keep love from slipping away. Eleanor, 76, knew this feeling all too well. When her husband passed away, she didn't change a single thing in the house. Every item remained exactly as it was when he was alive. His favorite suits still filled the closet, his desk still held the pen he always used, and the sofa still bore the imprint of countless evenings spent watching TV together. At first, this brought her comfort, as if he were still there. But as the months turned into years, the house became a place filled with memories, but lacking the warmth of the present. She stopped inviting friends over, resisted any change, and with each passing day, the weight of her grief only grew heavier. Then one day, her son visited and gently asked, "Mom, does keeping everything exactly the same truly make you happy?" The question shook her. She realized that clinging to everything wasn't easing her pain, it was keeping her trapped in the past. After months of inner struggle, Eleanor began to make choices. She kept the things that truly held meaning, the handkerchief embroidered with their initials, their wedding photo, and the last letter he had written to her. But the rest, she decided to donate to those who could actually use them. And strangely enough, as her home became lighter, so did her heart. Many people make the mistake of believing that holding on to everything means holding on to their loved one. But the truth is, memories don't live in objects, they live in the heart. No one expects you to let go all at once. But remember, keeping what truly matters is far more important than turning your home into a shrine of the past. Letting go isn't about forgetting, it's about making room for yourself to keep living. And when you're ready, you'll realize that love is never lost, even when some of the physical reminders are no longer there. Losing a spouse is a profound shock, and in the midst of grief, it's easy to make rushed decisions, whether about finances, relationships, or how to move forward with life. But as you've seen, these mistakes are not uncommon. Many have walked this painful path before you, have stumbled, have learned their lessons, and have come out stronger. And you can do the same. Remember, no one expects you to have everything figured out quickly, but don't let emotions lead you into choices that you may regret later. Life goes on, and you deserve a future filled with peace, clarity, and even moments of joy. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it so that more people can avoid these difficult mistakes. And don't forget to leave a comment. Have you made any of these mistakes yourself? Or do you have advice for someone currently going through loss? Let's support each other and find strength together. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.